Forbes Asia's report wasn't merely a recognition. It was a statement, a documentation of how a single individual from Korea has quietly built an empire of resonance. Every statistic they presented, from streaming numbers to brand valuations, from digital reach to performance metrics, pointed back to a reality that the world already sensed but never fully quantified. Jungkook is not just part of the industry, he is one of its definitions. The report laid out the data with precision. Jungkook's name appeared in sections typically dominated by Western artists and multinational executives. Yet, unlike others, his influence wasn't rooted in business maneuvering or aggressive marketing. It was built through something much rarer: consistency, credibility, and a type of cultural weight that can't be manufactured. When Forbes Asia explained the methodology behind their selection, they noted how the new generation of economic power is measured not only by profit, but by presence, by the ability to redefine visibility itself. Jungkook's dominance across charts, platforms, and brand sectors fits perfectly within that frame. His presence operates as a universal metric. When Jungkook appears, the metrics move. The publication highlighted that the global creative industry is shifting. Once recognition was centralized, America decided what the world celebrated. Now, the structure has changed. And Jungkook's continuous placement on such lists is not a coincidence, but evidence that the balance of global influence has already moved eastward, guided by one of the most unrelenting figures of modern pop culture. The 2025 Forbes Asia coverage didn't treat Jungkook as a K-pop artist. It treated him as a phenomenon beyond the categorical lines that once defined the region's entertainment industry. This shift in framing was subtle but revolutionary. The narrative no longer boxed him under genre or nationality. Instead, it positioned him as a symbol of cultural universality, someone whose impact is not filtered through translation but absorbed in real time. Observers within the industry saw something even deeper in the Forbes report. It wasn't just about Jungkook's music, it was about the structure of influence itself. He's become a case study in how digital culture amplifies authenticity. While algorithms can boost visibility, they can't fabricate belief. Forbes Asia emphasized that the numbers surrounding Jungkook, billions of streams, millions of interactions, constant brand resonance, all emerge from a foundation of trust between an artist and a global audience that refuses to disengage. That's why this report spread so fast across international media platforms. It wasn't just a news cycle, it was a reaction to confirmation. The world had been tracking Jungkook's numbers for years, but Forbes Asia's inclusion of him in multiple cross-category rankings, not just music or entertainment, elevated the narrative into something institutional. The impact became measurable at a corporate level. In the section focusing on digital influence, Forbes Asia noted Jungkook's unmatched streaming performance and engagement sustainability. Unlike most artists whose peaks fade after a promotional cycle, Jungkook's metrics evolve with time. His songs continue to climb long after release. His visuals dominate searches months after events. And his brand collaborations maintain relevance even after campaigns end. The consistency of that pattern is what Forbes called the Jungkook model, a term that, whether intentional or not, encapsulated the power of longevity in the digital age. Beyond the numbers, the tone of Forbes Asia's report reflected something that had been gradually forming in the global media ecosystem, a recognition that Jungkook's career is rewriting how global pop operates. He doesn't fit the industry's previous mold of idol success, which often depended on the machinery around the performer. Instead, his model thrives on individuality. His work carries a precision that doesn't rely on spectacle but on mastery. And Forbes treated that mastery as an economic asset. What made this year's coverage distinct was the framing. Forbes Asia didn't spotlight him for a specific achievement or viral event. It analyzed his sustained trajectory, a decade of evolution that has kept him relevant without saturation. In an age where artists fade quickly, Jungkook's brand only consolidates. That's not the result of luck or timing. It's the product of control, an ability to manage one's image, pace, and creative direction in a way that even corporate strategists find difficult to replicate. Forbes Asia's editorial summary captured that concept indirectly. It noted that the next phase of Asia's entertainment dominance will rely on self-sustaining ecosystems of influence, where individuals can maintain relevance without overexposure. Jungkook embodies that description to perfection. His presence doesn't overwhelm, it endures. Within hours of the report's release, Jungkook's name began trending globally again. Analysts, journalists, and fans dissected each section, identifying what it meant for Korea's position in the global entertainment economy. But the subtext was clear. The article wasn't celebrating Korea, it was documenting Jungkook's singularity. His achievements are increasingly treated as global phenomena detached from regional context. What's remarkable is how Forbes Asia's narrative subtly contrasts with how Western outlets describe him. While Western media often frame Jungkook's impact through comparisons, the Korean artist who equals Western pop stars, Forbes Asia wrote as if he no longer needs comparison. It positioned him as a standard of his own. That editorial tone is a quiet revolution in itself. It also reflects a larger truth. Jungkook's career has evolved beyond competition. When an artist's success becomes the benchmark, comparison loses meaning. Forbes Asia's acknowledgement of that fact is what makes this report resonate worldwide. It's not another list. It's documentation of a shift in power within the creative economy, a transfer of cultural centrality from institutions to individuals. The report detailed Jungkook's role in brand economics too. It highlighted how his partnerships, especially with global fashion and lifestyle names, produce measurable returns. Yet, what stands out is that these partnerships aren't defined by sponsorship, but by alignment. Forbes Asia's insight was simple yet sharp. Brands don't use Jungkook to sell, they use him to signify. His image translates to credibility, not just visibility. That's an intangible value most corporations spend years trying to construct. Through its data charts and editorial commentary, Forbes showed how Jungkook operates across multiple industries simultaneously without dilution. Music, fashion, marketing, and digital culture intersect through his presence. Each appearance reinforces the next. Each project creates compounding value. In effect, he's functioning as a global enterprise disguised as an artist. That idea that a performer can carry the structure of a brand empire without formal ownership is a defining observation of the 2025 report. Forbes Asia described this phenomenon with terms like network capital and cultural liquidity, suggesting that Jungkook's reach has transformed into a type of soft power that transcends traditional entertainment metrics. He's not only representing Korea, he's representing the evolution of how identity, talent, and economy merge in the 21st century. Readers across regions responded with fascination because this kind of recognition changes how the world perceives Asian artistry. Jungkook's inclusion wasn't about diversity or representation. It was about dominance based on performance. Forbes Asia's choice dismantled the narrative of inclusion and replaced it with acknowledgement. He's not included to fill space, he defines the space. The reaction in the business community confirmed the ripple effect. Marketing analysts began referencing the report in discussions of brand personality economics. Financial writers explored how an individual's authenticity can translate into measurable financial movement across industries. And entertainment strategists cited Jungkook as a model for long-term digital retention, the ability to sustain interest without fatigue. That's the weight of being repeatedly recognized by Forbes Asia. It shifts the conversation from fandom to framework, from popularity to influence architecture. It validates not only the scale of Jungkook's impact, but its sustainability. The publication's focus on data also shields the recognition from sentimentality. This isn't admiration, it's analysis. Still, what draws attention is how the data themselves tell a story. Jungkook's streaming totals continue to break internal platform records. His visuals remain among the most circulated in fashion media. His social presence ranks consistently in engagement-driven metrics. Not follow account, an important distinction that Forbes emphasized to illustrate the depth, not breadth, of his influence. What this reveals is a kind of paradoxical simplicity. Jungkook's formula works because it's grounded in restraint. He rarely oversaturates the market with content, yet each release dominates its sphere. He avoids performative publicity, yet his quiet appearances become global headlines. Forbes Asia's analysts noted this as a minimalist strategy with maximal effect. It's a reminder that in a hyper-connected world, control is the rarest form of power. The longer the report circulated, the clearer it became that Forbes Asia wasn't just writing about an artist. It was chronicling a new kind of global leadership. Jungkook's rise isn't a result of opportunity alone. It's the manifestation of mastery over visibility, an understanding of how perception works in a digital economy that rewards both precision and authenticity. Each paragraph of the report subtly built toward that idea. When they listed top performers, they didn't rank them merely by financial success, but by impact density, how much effect a single figure has per unit of visibility. Jungkook's metrics in that category were disproportionate, meaning his influence ratio far exceeds his media exposure. That's a phenomenon few artists achieve, and none sustain this long. Forbes Asia closed the section with a sentence that resonated widely. Jungkook's influence continues to define what global relevance means in the digital age. It wasn't written as flattery. It was written as fact. And that's why the coverage became a global sensation, because it represented an intersection of art, economy, and influence in its purest form. In essence, the 2025 Forbes Asia report didn't just put Jungkook on a pedestal, it set him as a mirror, reflecting the evolution of modern fame. His career trajectory demonstrates that visibility, when earned through authenticity and control, transforms from exposure into equity. That principle is what the world now studies, not just his music, but the structure behind his success.